All right, what's up, ladies and gents? We're going to get started here in a second. To give everybody a couple of seconds to get in here, and then we'll edit the video after the fact. But welcome to the first of hopefully what will become many live streams where I don't necessarily focus on playing video games and trying to showcase something for the folks who are interested in games that haven't released yet, but more along the lines of what I've spent a lot of time on YouTube doing, which is trying to help other creators really find their place and understand how to take what's organic to them and what's important to them and turn that into effective but also quality content that other people want to watch. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on tonight, what we're going to be talking about. It's an opportunity. I see a lot of you are already asking questions in the comment section. That's good. Now, during the course of while I'm talking, I'll definitely have interludes where we can ask and answer questions. If for whatever reason, if I miss one of your questions, feel free to re-ask it. I need to turn the volume down on this so that we don't have the sound coming up double. But feel free to re-ask your question. Like I already see that the Cat Wizard has asked, how do I grow in YouTube? Because I'll get a few subs and then stay the same for a long time. And it's a great question. The answer to that is very nuanced. A lot of it has to depend on what type of channel that you're running. Some of it has to depend on just the way that YouTube works. It's very seasonal, just like anything else in creation. And we'll dive into some of that. But really the core here, if you guys have heard me say that the focus of this channel is on helping build a stronger gaming community. And I think that first starts with its creators, not losing sight of who we are as people, what's important to us, and what we're trying to convey, hopefully a message that's positive. But at the same time, also focusing on other types of content that help spread good ideas, such that it has a positive impact on the lives of the people that we reach, to make them want to be a part of our community, which makes us larger and thus able to affect the gaming community and the gaming industry at large. So that's going to be the focus. Those of you who have been around a while may know me more for the coaching type videos. I like to call them knowledge sessions. I don't really like to call them coaching or teaching because I think that sounds condescending. The challenge with doing those types of videos on YouTube is they really don't suit my style of coaching, my style of engagement, which is a little bit more live and interactive. A lot of you know that I came to YouTube as a musician and as a wannabe comedian, and then eventually transitioned into doing games. But as a musician, I was very much used to doing live shows. I hated being in the studio. I didn't really like pre-recorded stuff. And on YouTube, when you do things that are pre-recorded, there's this formula that you have to follow that really doesn't allow us to get into the meat of a lot of these discussions. You see some stuff over here on the board. We're going to get into some of it, maybe all of it if we have time. Don't get married to it, though. It's really just kind of bullet points that I want to go over, things that I want to touch on during the course of this talk. Also, if you are already kind of some administrative notes to get out of the way before we get into the meat of the discussion. If you are a subscriber, not just on our YouTube channel, but if you are subscribed to my mailing list, hopefully, I know I haven't gotten to everybody yet because there's a lot of you. Hopefully, though, you're starting to see personal emails come from me. And they are actually from me. It's not an automated mail system that's blasting out emails. It's actually coming from me. And I'm going to be emailing every single one of you on the mailing list, which is going to take me quite a bit of time. But the purpose of that is to make sure that the content that I'm providing in the email and also over here in the YouTube space is meeting your needs, or at least meeting your desires. Like, you signed up to the mailing list for a reason, just like you subscribed to my channel for a reason. I want to make sure that you're getting what you signed up for. So be sure, if you can, hopefully you will respond to the email. Let me know what's working for you, what's not working for you, what you'd like to see more of in the future, maybe less of in the future. All right, so I've rambled on enough about the administrative notes here. Let's get into some of this discussion. Cat Wizard also asks, you guys will have to forgive me, I'll probably scratch my nose a lot in this particular show because your boy has allergies. So Cat Wizard goes on to say, how do I stand out as a content creator? How do I turn heads? Great question. We're going to talk about that tonight. And so we've got the Noxious Karn says, knowledge bomb drops. Writing it now makes me think of a candy of some type. Outstanding. Okay. So really the core, I titled this video Winning on YouTube. It's somewhat catchy, but more along the lines of tips for gamers, trying to help people, what I do, and I purposefully avoid the gimmicky, here's how to get 100,000 subscribers in a year or in a month or in a whatever. A lot of the questions that I get, and part of the reason why I stopped doing the pre-recorded tips videos is because I'd get a lot of the same questions, which were very, they didn't necessarily have a black and white answer, or they just weren't focused on the things that I wanted to focus on as a creator and helping people. So I've purposefully avoided the gimmicky, how to get your channel up to 10,000 subscribers in a month. Not that that's impossible, by the way, but you really have to ask yourself, what are your actual goals on YouTube? So a lot of you have come to me and asked, my goal is to have 1 million subscribers. How do I do that? Or more along the lines, because you wouldn't ask me how do you do it, because I don't have 1 million subscribers. But a lot of you ask, is it still possible? And it is still possible, but there's kind of two things I would ask you to consider. One, to get 1 million subscribers, you have to deserve 1 million subscribers. Secondly, what is it about 1 million that you want? You know what I mean? That's kind of like showing up to a job and saying, I want to get paid $200,000 a year. And then just leaving it at that. Like, there's no, why do you need that amount of money? Two, what are you actually going to give to the company that then makes you deserve $200,000 a year? Or in this case, what makes you deserve 1 million subscribers in a year? And a lot of people argue that, the top, and we're going to get into this tonight too, the top channels that are out there probably don't deserve their subscribers. I would argue against that for a couple different reasons. Just because the fact of the matter is the market has determined that those people deserve whatever it is they're doing. It's serving the millions of people who want to be a part of what they're doing. Okay. So we've got to help you figure out how to deserve what you want. And part of deserving, so I run, some of you may be aware of this. Let me make sure I'm not missing comments here. Hey, Ashley, what's up? Some of you may be aware that I've done, I do a frequently asked questions over on my website, which is completely free. And by the way, all of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about tonight in terms of products and downloads and stuff is in the video description. I'm actually pointing at my PC while I'm talking. It's in the video description and it's in the cards up above. Okay, so in the Academy, one of the things we talk about, and that's the YouTube Gamers Academy. Right now we're going through an SEO series where people who have paid to be a part of the Academy, who are members, are getting more one-on-one coaching from me. Some of the stuff from it you'll hear here tonight. But one of the things we talk about a lot is this idea of people living in a bubble. And this is a theme that I visit all the time. And so the problem is you're over here making content and you're trying to get this person to come pay attention to it. But what we don't realize about human psychology is that every human being, myself included, no matter how altruistic and good I think I am, we live in our own bubble and we have our own things that we deem are important. And in order for you, so the first question, and I'll actually go back and read that first question and I'll tie this answer into it, which was, how do I stand out as a content creator? Well, the first way you stand out is by understanding that it's not about you, okay? And part of the other reason why I avoid all the gimmicky teaching about how to get this many subscribers in this much time is because that's focused on you. You come to me and ask, I want to get 1 million subscribers. Why? Why do you deserve 1 million subscribers? Why do you deserve 1,000 subscribers? Why do I deserve the ones that I have? Okay? And so what I work to do in the Academy is, because we're all part of this, those of us who are creators are in a bubble too. And we're trying to get other people to be interested in what's going on in our bubble. And it's never going to happen. It's a psychological fool's game to think that you're going to get someone who has their own world that doesn't care anything about you to care about what you're doing in your world. So what I really focus on doing is, one, helping people determine their purpose and their why they're here. And the reason why we talk about knowing the purpose and why we're here is because that purpose has to be greater than your fear, and it has to be big enough such that when you hit the inevitable roadblocks, you were talking about, who was it? Cat Wizard was talking about growing and then plateauing and then growing and then plateauing. When that happens, your vision has to be bigger than your desire for 1 million subscribers. Or if your vision is 1 million subscribers, then your desire for that has to be strong enough to keep you in the game when you hit those plateaus. Okay, so that's some of the stuff we talk about. But the only way you're going to get user over here to care about content that you're making down here is to get out of your bubble and into theirs. Okay, we have to start thinking about making content with the viewer in mind, not with us in mind. And one of the things I always joke about in my videos is, if you want to start doing Shrek 2 Let's Plays, I actually do own the game. I don't just talk about that. Good luck getting your channel off the ground and getting whatever your subscriber or your viewership or your monetary goals are, doing that. Because arguably, nobody wants to watch Shrek 2 Let's Plays specifically. Okay, and I just use that as an example. The point is, we got to stop thinking about ourselves. We have to stop being so self-focused. How do I get 1 million subscribers? How do I become the next PewDiePie? How do I do this? And start thinking of, how can I serve the people on YouTube? Because whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you like it or not, or whether you think it's right, the PewDiePies, whoever, all the big name people, I don't know all their names, but the PewDiePies, this guy does Minecrafts, all of these people who have these millions upon millions of people watching them every day, Tobuscus, they have given something of value to their audience that their audience wants to keep returning for, okay? And the challenge is, a lot of times creators want people in my position to give you these tips and tricks that you can just implement that then just equal to, over time, you having 1 million subscribers. And there are tips and there are tricks, but those tips and tricks lack power when they don't have valuable content behind them. And so my ebook, the YouTube Gamer Survival Guide, and the YouTube Gamers Academy focuses very heavily on helping you understand how to make that valuable content. Okay, so let me take some more comments here, and then we'll get into some more of this here discussion. So we got Ashley says, hey, hello Ashley, good to see you as always. So Noxious Karn says, I recently put the brakes on my gaming content. I had found people enjoyed some of the other types of videos I had been making. I want to incorporate gaming without alienating my current subs. How? Okay, so one of the other things I talk about, let me go ahead and erase this. One of the other things I talk about in the academy is, there is no silver bullet. So a lot of times you guys will ask questions, you want a very definitive answer. How do I do this? And the challenge is, the answer a lot of times, and almost every time, is it depends. So I would say that depends upon what is the type of content that you're creating right now, okay? And does gaming, the theme of gaming, have a place in the content that's working? So for example, I had a friend recently reach out saying that they wanted to add a certain type of content to their gaming channel. And so my response to them was, it's okay to have different products on your channel, just like it's okay for a store or a business to sell different types of products. But the businesses that do the best focus on a specific type of theme. They focus in. So in this particular case, a perfect example is, there's a reason why Coca-Cola calls their water company, I think Dasani is Coca-Cola and Aquafina is Pepsi. I may have that backwards. But there's a reason why they call the water company something different from Coca-Cola. It's because cola is associated with Coca-Cola. And marketing studies that go all the way back to the beginning of marketing have shown that companies that try to just attach their name to a bunch of other stuff that they're not known for, they end up, one, not making a huge profit on the deal, and usually taking profits away from what's already doing well. So the same principle of marketing applies to your channel. If you want to add gaming to your channel, then you need to have a channel that your gaming needs to be themed in the same way that your current content is. And it's hard for me to really answer without knowing your specific situation. But to use the example of my friend who wanted to add teaching videos which had nothing to do with gaming, okay, to a gaming channel, well, that's okay, but your teaching needs to somehow incorporate gaming into it. Like, it needs to have a gaming theme, okay? You know, my answer was Ford makes vehicles. Now, they make all kinds of different vehicles. They make Mustangs, and they make F-150s, and they make Focuses, but they don't make computers, okay? I mean, you could argue they make the computers that go into the cars, but they don't make personal computers to sell at home. And the reason is because in marketing, and part of a lot of what I teach, and what we talk about in the knowledge sessions over in our YouTube Gamers Academy, are you have to be able to find your focus and find your niche and find your target audience so that your content resonates with them. Because no matter what you do, eventually your audience is going to associate a certain type of content with you. And that's just the way it's going to be. And anything you make after the fact, you have to really think about, like you said, you don't want to alienate your audience. So you want to make sure that if you're adding gaming content to your channel, it somehow fits with the theme that you have. All right, hope that made sense. Let's see what else we have here. All right. So Erdogan Game says, seems like videos get blocked in Germany very often. Why is that? I don't have a specific answer. And it's a very general question, like what types of videos are we talking about? But what I can tell you in very general terms is if you're talking about, especially if you're talking about gaming content. So gaming content, especially if it's a cutscene. So the bigger channels and the bigger brands on YouTube have access to what's called managing their assets. So, and when they log into YouTube, they see a whole separate panel that you may not see, which is how they manage their copyrighted material. And so what they say is, you know, if let's say I'm a Japanese role-playing game company, let's say I'm Atlas, and I upload all of the cutscenes from my games onto my YouTube platform, and I say, based on, here is what I want YouTube to do if they find this content somewhere else. And because Germany may not allow a certain type of content legally, then that particular copyright owner would say, in Germany, don't show this content because there's some legal stipulation which is requiring it, and things of that nature. What you'll find a lot of times is that if something's not showing up in a particular company, it's the person who owns the copyright to that material saying in the asset management system, don't show this content in this area, usually for some legal reason. But to answer it specifically, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly. So Aridon says, is it safe to just remove in-game music from your videos to avoid copyright issues? I think your question seems slightly incomplete, but I think what you're saying is if you play your video games and just take the music out, will it help you avoid like the content ID system? And the answer is it can. What a lot of people have to understand about video game music is a lot of times, even though it's in the game, the people who made the video game don't own the rights to the music. And a lot of times the music copyright owner will have their music, or their publisher usually will have their music uploaded in their asset system. And that's why you're getting the claims. It's not necessarily, like if you played Madden, this is a perfect example. If you played Madden, like an older Madden where they have the NFL Films music or the music from artists and you let that continue to play, EA doesn't own the rights to any of that music. It's the NFL and the artists creating it. So even though you may have permission from Electronic Arts to upload your Madden videos, or at least they kind of have a blanket agreement with YouTube where they just let it ride as long as it meets their criteria, you're still going to get Content ID claims on that music because it's owned by a completely different entity who's managing the asset in a different way. All right, let's see what else. Fit Frosty says, I removed the music and it allowed me to monetize no problem. Okay, maybe did I miss another comment earlier that adds context to that? Let's see. Noxious Karn says, I do horror readings in a creepy voice. He says, creepy games would work, or playing a villain for other Let's Play collabs. Maybe. So you're saying, you know, if you played a game and you did like the narration of a horror game instead of, in this case, a horror short story, that might be able to work for you, but I mean, that would have to be like a text-based game, or you just like playing a horror game and you're doing your own commentary over it. That might work for your audience, but here's the other thing that I tell people too, because everybody, everywhere in business, on YouTube, everywhere I've been as a consultant, as a professional myself, as a business owner, what I find more often than not when people are coming to you for advice, like I said, is they want this definitive black and white answer that tells them this is how I'm supposed to do it. And I've dealt with it. God, I can't count how many times I've worked with people, I've consulted companies, and they just, what is the thing that's going to work? And sometimes the answer is either we don't know or it depends. In your particular case, if you're trying to infuse something like that into your channel, experiment with it. Give it a shot. Especially if your channel isn't huge, like if you don't have 20,000 or so subscribers who are very focused on a very specific type of content that you're making, and you want to infuse something new for them to check out. I experiment all the time on this channel. Actually, I started this channel as an experiment before I ever got into doing the knowledge sessions, because I wanted to have my own knowledge of what worked, for me as a creator, but also what also worked for different types of audiences. And I still do to this day. I experiment with different types of content because I'm kind of like, I'm a scientist. My background is in science, so I kind of have that compulsion to experiment and see how different things work. Okay, so experiment with it. Do maybe a video a week for a month and just see how it goes. See how people respond to it. Do you get the same level of engagement? Do you get the same level of views? Do you get the same level of average watch time across the video? Or maybe it's better. Maybe it's a little bit worse because people have to get used to it. But I say give it a month to 3 months of you trying it out just to see what happens. And then look at your analytics and let the mathematics answer questions like that. Okay, don't just rely on some guru like me to tell you exactly how it's going to go, because the truth of the matter is none of us, not a single one of us on YouTube, can predict what is going to be hot. If you would have asked me back in 2007 when I first started doing YouTube videos, kind of as a joke with my friends and my cousins, if you would have asked me back then if I would have thought what PewDiePie is doing now would be the most popular thing on the planet, no, in a million years I wouldn't have predicted that. You know what I mean? But it is. So you can't really predict what the market. What you can predict, it's almost like investing in the stock market. And it's funny. I get a lot of people trying to give me advice who've never invested before, and it's from the business side of things. It's the only thing you can predict that the market's going to do is that it's going to fluctuate. It's going to change. But you can't predict who's going to be the next big this or the next big that. I've gotten into debates with people with, I can tell that. I was like, you can't tell, because the market and the people are who drives the stock exchange, not necessarily just the businesses doing business. All right, and it's emotionally based, and emotion does not follow mathematics or logic. Same thing with viewers. People by and large are very emotional creatures, so they're going to follow whatever whimsical thing their emotions draw them to. You very rarely come across people who are highly rational to the point where rationality outweighs their emotion. Okay, so bottom line is experiment with what you're doing there. All right, so horror readings, we got The Game Machine. For commentaries, for example, use a royalty-free music low in the background or no audio at all. Depends on the tone you want to set. All right, Wheel Gamer says, Knox, if you want to play games, just play horror games. I know a few good ones. Cool. Knox says, once again, would creating a separate channel and offering that value to my current subs, or creating a channel playlist on the current channel, I guess would be a better question. Like I said, experiment. Experiment with it. See what works with your existing channel. But here's the deal with splitting channels, though. Or a deal, not the deal. If you're going to run 2 channels, okay, you're going to have to manage 2 channels. And that goes for if you have 1,000 subscribers. I have friends who between the 2 channels they run, they have upwards of, they're pushing, I think, close to 500,000 to 1 million subscribers. Friends of mine on the platform. And You know, one of them, she will tell you straight up, it's like, I created the second channel because I wanted to have something that was more about having fun and not so focused on, you know, kind of the business side of what I do. But she's like, I have to manage both channels. And she's like, the first channel is already a full-time job. Okay, so starting a second channel could be a thing, but you have to weigh it. Like, it's not just, you know, is this something you're doing just as a hobby that you don't necessarily even need a separate channel for? Maybe you just do it every once in a while on your existing channel because it pleases you and it doesn't really alienate your audience, again, through your experimentation and studying your analytics. Or, you know, can you start a new channel? Like, is it something that's going to be big for you and it's going to work out and it's going to be worth your time? And worth it really comes down to what your individual goals are. Like, is it worth it monetarily? Is it worth it in terms of if you're trying to spread a message or just building a social? Like, if you're a very social person, the idea of having a big audience is a big deal to you because you like being around people and feeling that sense of adoration and appreciation, which we all do, by the way. It's common to all human beings. So you just have to weigh that. Okay? Cool. Great questions, by the way, guys. Keep them coming. Cat Wizard says, I want to move into more commentary type of videos and skits, but I'm scared people will say, oh, you copied Pyro Cynical or Leafy or H3H3. Okay. So let me give you a quote from our friend Pablo Picasso. I think it was Picasso that said this. He said, good artists copy, great artists steal. You know, and Solomon, if you're a Bible reader, and if not, you've heard this quote before. You may not know that this quote comes from the Bible. Solomon, in the book of Ecclesiastes, said, there is nothing new under the sun. So here's what I say. And there's two ways to look at this. Let people say you copied them. Who cares? If you're making something that you enjoy and it's something that your audience likes and wants to watch and is giving you watch time and you're finding subscribers in it, everybody's copying someone else. Literally everybody is copying someone else to some degree or another. The key, and this is the second piece of it, the key is copying it but then putting your own spin on it. I mean, think about music. Like, how many of the same song title exist across different artists and different bands? Thousands, right? Every human beings get similar inspiration from similar things. So at some point, some way, shape, or form, you're going to be a copy of someone that came before you. The key for you is, for the benefit of you and your channel and for your audience, is to differentiate. So if you're copying function, change the form a little bit. You know what I mean? If you're doing a skit, I mean, honestly, I hear the word skits. That's not copying Pyro, Cynical, or any of these other people. Skits have been around since theater. You know? I mean, you could take skits back to Shakespeare's days. You can take skits probably even further back than that. I'm not a theater buff, if you guys haven't figured out. But yeah, skits aren't anything new, and they didn't invent skits. So and here's the deal. In dealing with folks that complain, because especially Americans, we're so entitled and so spoiled is what we are. You know, spend a year. You know, I encourage every American to go spend a year in Afghanistan or in Iraq to get a taste of how good your life is. Okay? And not you, but just in general. Americans are spoiled and bored. And they get frustrated with all kinds of things that are so insignificant and so not important. So the 4 people who are going to get angry that you copied, so let them be mad. And here's the deal. You don't want them around your content anyway. I'm telling you right now, I purposefully make content that pushes people away, a specific type of people away, because I don't want them here. You know, it's specifically one of the other reasons why I avoid gimmicky content, because, you know, going back to, this is one of the things I really wanted to focus on talking about. You know, so we've got the why, the who, and the what on the board. We can start to talk about that a little bit. That's a good segue. So the why, we're on YouTube. Part of the why is knowing yourself. You know, I have know thyself up here. You know that old saying. knowing what pleases you. So if you ever get the chance to go through the YouTube certification program, and I highly suggest that you do if YouTube ever makes it available to you, one of the first things they teach you is keeping people happy, your audience happy, but more importantly, keeping you happy. So you can't make content that's not going to make you happy for the duration of time that you plan to spend on YouTube. You have to make content that makes you happy. Now, granted, you also have to make content that makes your viewers happy. So if Shrek 2 makes you happy, I'm sorry, we're going to have to find a better happy medium than Shrek 2. But knowing what content to make really comes down to knowing who you are and knowing what pleases you, right? And then knowing what your purpose is, why you want to make content on YouTube. And so, and it begs the question, what is winning for you in the YouTube space? Is it making funny skits that, make people laugh and make people enjoy them and you get whatever channel growth, if that's something that's important to you? If that's winning to you, then do it. Like, when I evaluate myself, one of the reasons why I talk about this a lot is because winning for me, you have to remember, it's not just about subscribers. And I know subscribers has become a status symbol on YouTube, and it should be. And subscribers are important in growing a channel. So I don't want to diminish their value, but I do want to diminish the amount of focus we put on them. Because again, that's inward focus. You should be focusing on giving people something that's awesome, and the subscribers will be the results. One of the best speakers I've ever seen, a guy named Simon Sinek. Look him up. Look up all of his TED Talks and watch them every day. He talks about one of the things that makes Apple different from other companies is they start with why, okay? And they start with what they're going to give. And one of the points he makes in his talk, which I think like 100 million people have watched or more, is it's not about money. Money, or subscribers in this case, is not your goal or your purpose. Giving somebody something that they desperately need or want is your purpose. Subscribers are the result of doing that good work, of doing that service. So one of the things that I have to evaluate when I look at what I want to do in the YouTube space, when you look at all the channels who are at the top, and you look at what they're doing, like I've actually done research on the top 500 gaming channels, because I was looking, I do a lot of competitive analysis to look at, where is my channel going in the future? How do I want to stage it? How do I strategically want to make my content such that I can give myself the best chance of reaching my target audience? And the more I watched of these top 500 folks, and by the way, I don't criticize or hate anybody, all right? I have to be honest about who I am. So I respect them for what they do. I respect what they do, and I appreciate that it serves somebody. But you have to determine what winning looks like for you. And when I look at the top, and I didn't look at all 500 of them, but I picked and choose from the top 500 YouTubers. None of the ones I watched would be winning for me. For me. Okay? Because for me, it's not just about getting to a subscriber number. For me, it's about having a positive impact on the lives of the people that I reach and building a stronger gaming community. And I had to come to grips with the fact that what I am attempting to do doesn't have the draw power of what some of these bigger YouTubers are doing, because they focus primarily on very engaging, almost spastic in a way, not all of them are spastic, entertainment. Stuff that my kids would watch. You know what I mean? Like when I watch their cartoons, I get a headache. Like, God, I can't, I used to watch stuff like that when I was a kid, but I'm not a kid anymore. And it doesn't resonate with me. And that's not to say that adults don't watch their stuff too, because obviously out of 40 million people, some of them are going to be adults. But when I look at what they're doing and what they have to do to keep their audience, I wouldn't want to be them. I wouldn't want to have to make the amount of content that they make, because I run other businesses. YouTube is not my primary source of income. This is a nice, fun way for me to empower people outside of my primary work, because I have a passion for video games. But it also does earn me revenue. It's just not my main source. So winning for me is not ever going to be a place where I'm trying to, at least for this channel, where I'm making videos every single day, trying to reach an audience that needs nonstop blaring entertainment. You know, I'm doing a live stream about helping you guys make the best channels that you can make. And so you have to determine what winning is for you. Winning for me, you know, I look at who has these high numbers of subscribers, and I would not want to be any of them. And some may argue, you would want that amount of money. Sure, I'd love to have the money, but I wouldn't ever do or want to do what they're doing to get it. Does that make sense? So for you, you have to determine what's winning for you. If making skits is what makes your heart come alive and you can make them good enough such that other people will want to watch them and engage with you over time and help you grow a community, then knock yourself out is my advice to you on that. And don't worry about being a copycat. We're all copycats. Every single one of us. Shh. All right, let's take some more comments here. I ran my mouth pretty long that time. Aaron Games says, when you tag your videos, are your tags case sensitive? No, they're not. I take that. Your channel tags probably could stand to be like the tags. No, I take that back. It's not case sensitive. Your channel tags have to be in quotes, and your video tags don't have to be in quotes. So no, they're not case sensitive. All right, what do we got? Noxious says, Ranger J says, hey, B, sorry I can't stay long. Hey, Ranger J, good to see you, man. The Miata Bros. Noxious says, thanks, man. I got hit 76 subs recently. I appreciate all the advice. For now, I want to watch and hope everyone else chimes in as well. Awesome. That's no small feat. Think about that. You could fill a room bigger than some of the shows I played as a musician. Now, I played bigger shows, too. I've actually played in front of thousands. But I've done... I lie to you not. This is a funny story. I have done shows as a musician. That's why, like, the growth stuff on YouTube doesn't bother me, because I was a musician for years, man, and I've seen it all. I've done shows in front of thousands of people on television, okay? Like, big networks playing with big artists, and I'm on TV in front of not just thousands of people in the audience, even more, probably tens of thousands of people at home watching us play. And I've also done shows, no, this is no joke, where the only people watching were the people in the sound booth mixing our sound, yo. Like, I have been there, okay? So 76 subs is no small feat. Now, you look at the big guys and you see millions upon millions, but look at the amount of time they put in. Look at how much work they put in. And I don't care what you guys want to say about their content sucks and all that. It doesn't suck to 40 million people. It doesn't suck to 20 million people. They think it's cool. So, you know, let's not be haters. That's another thing, too. Get out of your bubble. Stop hating and learn from the people who are doing really well. You can learn something from everybody. And sometimes, yes, it's what you shouldn't do, but you can still learn if you're not a hater and you keep an open mind. But I've done shows literally for the people in the sound booth, because by the time my band went on stage, the audience had all left. So, you know, when people are like, you ever get frustrated that you don't have the subs? No. And frankly, I'm not, the money that I do earn from YouTube ain't coming from views. It's coming from other things that I do. You know what I mean? So I don't trip out about that. So congratulations is what I want to say. And don't take it lightly. 76 people have told you that what you do is important to them. Cherish if you guys don't hear anything else I say, if you're one of the people in I Want More Subscribers camp, cherish every single person who comes to be a part of what you do. Respond to every comment within reason. Some comments are either dumb or just maliciously stupid. And you don't need to respond to those. You can delete them or do whatever. I tend to leave them because I like hateful comments, because they're a reminder that I'm getting better. Because if I'm making people angry, clearly I'm getting in front of more people. Because, you know, the people that show up first are going to be the people that really like you. When the haters start coming is when you know you're starting to actually get some success. And I've had some pretty hateful stuff lobbied at me in my time here on YouTube. Now then, Noise Shark Media says, I'm currently posting 2 videos a week, Wednesday and Saturday, and want to start ramping it up. Would you recommend just jumping to my target upload schedule or ease into it? Are there pros or cons to either? There are pros and cons. What YouTube would actually tell you is work with whatever schedule works best for you. If you can jump to the schedule that you're shooting for and you can sustain that for a year, 5 years, 10, 20 years, however long you plan to be on YouTube, then do that. If you're in a position where that's going to be a strain for you, I would probably hold back a little bit. Okay? So that's the thing where it's more of it's an unselfish thing by being selfish. You have to think about yourself in that case, because you don't want to get your audience used to something and then stop it all of a sudden. So if you are able to keep up with whatever this desired schedule is without much strain, go for it. Absolutely go for it. If you can't, then I would ease into it. And honestly, you may be better off easing into it, because even if you think you can keep up that show schedule, life is going to happen. There's going to be times where, like, I had a video not come out this week because I had to choose between taking my children and spending family time pretty much all day, one day this past weekend. I had to film 2 videos for our YouTube Gamers Academy, which we'll talk about the YouTube Gamers Academy, our FAQ, and the ebook, some of the free stuff and some of the stuff that we sell toward the end of the video if you're interested. But I had to get 2 videos for people. Like, basically, people had to choose between people who were paying for content, my children, and doing a video that a couple hundred people like. And the one that a couple hundred people like had to take a back seat. Okay, so you might want to ease into it because you may think your schedule is going to allow it, but try one at a time. And if you don't have any problem, then add another one, then another one, then another one. That's how I would do it. But you know your situation better than me, so you may be better off, taking my advice with a grain of salt and just applying it to how you think it's going to work. Let's see. Noxious says, there are 13 of us here. Hit like. Who's with me? I'm with you. I'll hit like. Bam. There you go. Wheel Gamer says, I have to ask, how do you know when you have found the thing that works for you? Such a great question. Excellent question. And hopefully you guys are sticking around long enough for me to get to the questions you're asking. And a lot of you have asked questions. I'm going to get to you. Just bear with me. I know I get a little bit long-winded, but it's because the questions have depth to them. So let me reread that question for everybody, because it's something we all deal with. I have to ask, how do you know when you found the thing that works for you? You will know when you found the thing that works for you when you understand who you are and what your YouTube destiny is. Now, I have 2 lessons in the YouTube Gamers Academy where I go into about a 45-minute to an hour. I'm not going to do that here. But I spend about 2 hours helping people do exactly this. Knowing yourself. I will tell you what I had the group do in the academy is take a personality test. Okay? There's a million of them out there. Take all of them. Take every one of them. Figure out which ones best resonate with you, because what the personality tests are going to help you with is self-discovery. Understanding what works for you. You know, there's a book, unfortunately I don't have it down here, I'd show it to you, that actually walks you through that based on this particular personality test. If you scored here are the things in life that best suit you in terms of work you should be doing, who you should marry, how you should raise your kids, how you should work in business. And so I actually took our Gamers Academy through that book, or at least the part of it associated with what was applicable to YouTube. So you got to know yourself. You have to know what makes you tick. So for example, my personality type, because I like interaction, I like live shows, and I like empowerment. I love empowering people and giving them something that can help their lives. Let's Plays don't work for me because I can't really do that in either of those to the degree that I would like. I can't interact with people because Let's Plays are recorded and then uploaded. Okay? I can't really empower people because I'm trying to focus on playing a game when I want to be, engaging with an audience. And so, at least for me, I haven't figured out the calculus for how to make that work for me. And I only dabbled in Let's Plays. I didn't really spend a lot of time with them. And frankly, I just don't enjoy them. Like, My personality type also lends me to getting bored very quickly with things. Like I do a thing and I want to start the next thing. So I focus more on content that's people oriented. Like I will never get bored of this exchange. Okay? So you got to know yourself, and then you have to understand why. And when you understand yourself, you'll have a better understanding of your purpose. Like if you have my personality type, empowering other people is at the core of who I am. There's other personality types who don't care about that, and that's okay. Like you don't have to have some grandiose, world-changing, altruistic, second coming of the Lord vision for your YouTube channel, all right? But you do need to understand what your personality type is, what your disposition and your temperament are, and how that affects what you do in the world and how that can affect the content that you make. And then once you discover those things, it'll start to become apparent to you, oh, based on what I like, then this type of content will work. And really, it's also understanding your taste. Like, I do RPGs because I love RPGs. It's the one genre that's been a constant in my life since I was, a little kid. It's the one genre that I've always been able to go back to and find something that I like when other genres start to let me down. Okay? So part of it's just what you like. All right. Let's see. Great question, by the way. And by the way, we all struggle with that. That's a huge part, too, of the YouTube Gamer Survival Guide, my ebook, which, by the way, guys, links to all this stuff is in the description below and in the tags above. The YouTube Gamer Survival Guide actually walks you through. It doesn't do the personality testing. That's more for the Academy. The Academy is kind of a next step after you've read the ebook. That's getting much deeper. But the ebook will help you work through coming up with the content that works for you and what works for you as a person and what your purpose is on YouTube. I call it your YouTube destiny. Okay. Karn says, on the doing something like someone else, I work in the haunt industry, and we have a saying, don't leave your favorite spot or someone might take it. Dang right. Absolutely right. Do your thing and take that spot. He said it better than I did. You might want to copy and paste what Knox just said somewhere on your PC. Dark Feather 22 says, I upload 3 times a week with a dedicated days. Excellent. Ayrton Games says, do people make separate channels because of the fear of YouTube one day removing your channel even if you follow the guidelines? I know of people keeping second channels as a backup, not necessarily because they're afraid of YouTube shutting their stuff down, but I think they do like A and B testing to see. That's kind of a more advanced business term that we in business will do. Like if you've actually been to, for example, my YouTube Gamers Survival Guide page, you'll notice that you've seen 2 different websites. If for whatever reason you go to it more than once, like it was one way before, and now it's another way, and I'm testing. I've never really heard of anybody doing that to back their stuff up. Me, I keep all my stuff on a separate drive off of YouTube. It's the way I do it. But yeah, I imagine there are people that do that. What's more important, the thumbnail or the title of your video? All of them. And here's the deal, going back to the earlier parts of the discussion. Don't look at things as black and white. There's not one better. They all have their purpose. Okay? Your title, when we get into the SEO part of the discussion, a lot of the stuff, I actually just filmed an episode for the YouTube Gamers Academy specifically talking about what SEO is and how it functions and how we harness it. The title is what's going to help YouTube and Google's search engines understand that your video is relevant to what somebody is searching for. Okay? So it's very important from that regard. Your thumbnail is also important because it's what's going to convey to the person scrolling through the videos that your video is relevant to what they are looking for. So they're both very important for 2 different reasons. One is to make search engines respond to what you're doing such that it'll put it in front of people to see it. The other is important because people will be browsing when they do their searches. And if your thumbnail is eye-catching and it's congruent with your message or more importantly, it's congruent with what they're looking for, bingo, then you have a win. Both are very important. You can't neglect either. Let's see. Trine Wong says, do I need to contact the owner of the game Musics to avoid content ID? I remember you said that contacting them is difficult. Yes, you were listening. Good. And so it's better to mute them. Is it okay to risk putting them on? No. It's not okay to risk it. Unless, well, here's the deal. You never know. Sometimes you don't know who owns the music. So when I play a video game like The Witcher 3, for example, The Witcher 3 has in-game music. I don't turn that music off when I'm playing the game on a live stream. But I do that knowing that at some point, if CD Projekt Red doesn't own the rights to those songs, that, lo and behold, the owner may come claim those videos at some point. I've had that happen. I was doing a Divinity 2 Let's Play, I think, or I was doing a conversational video, and it was my favorite song from Divinity 2, which is one of the best soundtrack songs in any video game, and it got claimed. The composer behind that game is a very famous composer in Europe. There's nothing I can do about it. It's his music. Can I contact him and get permission? I could, but chances are he doesn't have the publishing rights. You got to remember, music is very much different from these videos we're uploading. Music has publishing rights and writer's rights, and then there's the rights, which are all of them put together. It is, I don't have the time to get into all the details of how a music copyright is put together, but it is complicated. And so contacting the artist isn't necessarily going to help you, because chances are there are other people with rights to the music besides the artist. I'll give you an example. I am personal friends, I won't name his name, but I'm personal friends with a lot of popular artists, or at least acquaintances. I don't want to say like we're hanging out and I'm watching their kids. But I am a personal friend of one particular artist who's popular in the anime and game space. And I had permission from him directly to use his music in videos that I was creating. Because one of them was, I won't say that because that'll give away who it is. And I don't like name dropping. But I had permission from him, but I didn't have permission from his publishing company, who claimed one of my videos. It was one of my Fallout videos. They claimed the crap out of it. And I'm not going to call him at home and be like, hey, bro, can you call your publisher and ask them to remove this claim? He doesn't deserve to have me bug him about that stuff. So to the degree that you can control it, leave the music out. If it's in-game music, that's just part of the game. It's going to depend. If it's Fallout 4, turn the music off. Period. That's all copyrighted music. Bethesda has no rights to it. You're going to get like 30. Like my first live stream of Fallout 4, I removed it because I had like 40 claims. I was like, nope. I'm not going out like that. All right. Aaron Game says, I try to make sure my thumbnail and title match my video just because I don't like clickbait. A little bit of clickbait isn't necessarily wrong. It's when it gets misleading. All right, so clickbait is this bad word that people use. And it's so funny because every title is clickbait. It's just not all of it has to be misleading or malicious. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be evil. You can use a little bit of clickbait, but, if you're doing a Witcher 3 playthrough, you don't want a big busty picture of, some lady who's not related to the game. So there you go. Game Machine says, if it's okay, like to share a quote, it helps me. I know I wasn't the only one who feels this way. Okay, so Game Machine sharing a quote. Don't compare your backstage to someone's highlight reel. The big guys making videos isn't as easy as it looks. That is true. PewDiePie, for example, uses a lot of TV industry standards in the videos that he produces. There are things that if you don't know anything about that, you won't notice it. You'll just think it's him being spastic and crazy. It's not. Some of his freakouts are actually, I would say, almost timed. Because and I'll give you kind of a clue, like, he ebbs and flows his videos very well, where there's kind of a down, and then there's an up, and then there's a down. And if you watch television shows, they follow that same pattern where it's, if we're starting to lose the audience just a little bit, we got to get something that gets them back into it. Okay, his stuff is a lot more formulaic than people give him credit for, and it's much to his, it's a credit to what I consider to be either his genius or the people that are working with him is genius. Let's see. Aaron Game says, Alloy, do you watch Dashi? That guy swears a lot. I remember you talking about cussing. I do not watch Dashi. To be honest with you, I watch very little entertainment. It's just not my thing. I watch a lot of inspirational stuff. I watch, I run this YouTube Gamers Academy. I do, I have an ebook. I spend most of my time engaging with that type of stuff. Now, I don't, sit around watching my academy videos, but I have coaches. So it's like I tell the people in my academy, I'm always telling folks, spend money on learning, because the more Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn. And we all got to earn money, guys. I don't care if you earn it from video games or working at Walmart. We have to earn money to eat. We have to work. And so the more you learn, the more you earn. It works at Walmart. It works in Fortune 500 companies. I was going to say I've done both. I've never worked at Walmart, but I've worked in Fortune 500. As a kid, I worked at Burlington Coat Factory. And the more you know, the better off you're going to be. So invest money in learning. Don't be the person that thinks you're going to figure it all out by yourself. You're not. You're just not. There's a lot of way smarter people than me out there who coach me. And so what I tell the people in my programs is I put my money where my mouth is. If I'm telling them to spend money on learning, and don't just spend it with me. By all means, there's a lot of people doing good stuff out here. My friend Tim Schmoyer makes excellent stuff. Like, I've had people ask me, should I buy your book or his? Get both of them. That dude's book, I have it. I've bought it. His stuff's amazing. So don't just get me, because I don't have all of the answers, and I don't focus on the same things. Like, Tim and I focus on different things at different times. There's things that he is way more versed at than me. There's things that I'm more versed at than him. So you got to get the whole picture. But the point is, I spend, hundreds of dollars or more. God, I spend a lot of money every month on just education, on learning, whether it's books, whether it's coaching courses that I take, whether it's college courses. And some of it, I like to be kind of savvy. So a lot of it I get for free. Like, I can't get a college degree. Like, I basically have an MBA without ever getting an MBA, because I've taken all the same courses people spent $200,000 to go to Harvard to take. I've taken them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I don't have the degree at the end of the day, but who cares? I got the knowledge, man. That's what matters. So the point is, I don't watch a lot of YouTube that's not focused on, and like, again, my personality type is focused on empowerment. So if I'm watching PewDiePie or something, it's usually because I'm trying to learn. Like, I'm never going to watch that channel because I find it entertaining, because I don't. I spend very little time with entertainment. Let's see. Not that entertainment's not valuable, because it is. But if you look at my ratio of knowledge to entertainment, it's not even close. Okay, hey Alloy in chat. I have a friend that is kind of struggling when it comes to solo commentary. They can be talkative with others in a video, but when they do commentary alone, they find themselves pretty quiet. Is there any advice you can give to improve talking to an audience as opposed to a group? Okay, so one, keep doing, if what's working is working, why fix it? And hello, Jolly, by the way. Jolly's one of the folks that's actually, he's one of our collaborators here on Alloy 7, and he's in our YouTube Gamers Academy. So one, if it ain't fixed, don't broke it, man. If he does well working with other people, work with other people is my first thing. Bill Gates had to have Steve Ballmer, and what was the other guy's name? Especially if he's highly introverted, that's going to be challenging for him. But if he's around other people that can kind of bring it out of him, then do that. And if he's doing solo commentary like as a Let's Play, have him practice doing live streams, because then he can talk to his audience as they comment. But yeah, stick to doing, some people need to be in a group. Some people are lone wolves. Some people do better in a group. Ranger J says, hey Alloy, I have to get some rest. Till next time. Till next time, my friend. Awesome. Noxious says, later Jay. Nope, wait, never mind. I have to see the answer to the Jolly Mage's question. There you go. Good night, my brother. Dark Feather says, Jolly Mage, I understand completely. I had that problem. It made me put off my channel for an entire year. that goes back to knowing yourself and knowing your personality. If you are highly introverted, if you're not comfortable, like I can get on camera all night right here, no flinching, because I'm a crazy extrovert and I love interacting with people. So if you're an introvert who's makes you a little bit skittish, maybe being on camera is not your jam. Same thing goes for the people who are doing better content when they're with other people. Keep playing with other people if that's what's working for you, man. It's like one of my boys that I went to college with, his coach in high school, we were both football players. We were aspiring pro football players. Neither one of us made it. He is now a church pastor. I am doing YouTube teaching videos that have nothing to do with football. Knowledge videos. His coach in high school was a professional football player. And his formula, and they won game. Matter of fact, he went to high school with Allen Iverson. Or went to Allen Iverson's high school. He didn't actually play with him. And because Allen Iverson was older than us. But this dude, the coach's formula for like winning was, if I run a play and it works, I run that play until the defense stops it. And you have to have the same mentality when it comes to anything you do in business, YouTube, or otherwise. When something is working, keep doing it. Keep doing it if it's working. Don't stop. All right, what else we got here? All right. So Knox just gave them a trick. Tape a photo of a crowd of people. Yes, I have actually imagined people in the room with me, because it's easier, me being a musician, when you have the audience to feed off of. Like I'm talking to a theoretical audience, which may not even be watching, which I know you guys are because you're commenting, but there's nobody here, right? So there are times where I will envision that I'm talking to, like I'm teaching a course, because I've taught courses over the course of my career, and I've taught business managers how to do certain things in business, and yada yada. Let's see. Jolly Mage, it depends on what you play. All right. Dark Feather 22, Feathers 22 says, when I do COD content, I talk about weapons or news in the community, discuss the patches. Okay. All right, good. You guys are interacting with one another. That's excellent. That's what this is all about, building a stronger gaming community together. My friend Ideal 1998. Hi, man. Hi. How are you? Oh, so Tim led you here, Knox. Awesome, man. Tell Tim I said hi. Actually, I just talked to Tim a couple days ago. He's got a lot of big stuff. He's got a lot of cool stuff going on. You guys are going to be very pleased with what's coming down the lane with video creators. More learning to talk to anyone for almost an hour nonstop. So yeah, it's not just camming. It's talking in general during gameplay. More like learning to talk to anyone for almost an hour nonstop. Since it's okay, if it's a let's play, then he just needs to figure out how to be interesting. You got to have something to talk about. Now, I could get up here and talk to you guys for 6 hours and not bat an eyelash, because I'm talking about stuff that I know, I'm talking about stuff that I'm passionate about. So he needs to find kind of his niche, I would say. It's very easy to talk about things you're interested in and know a lot about. Okay. Airden Games says, Alloy, I'm really glad I found your channel. You have really helped me get better with my channel. I'm obviously still learning, but I know more than I did back then, and I appreciate your teachings. Hey, man, thank you. I'm learning too. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm learning every single day. Every day. Yadman TV says, I have trouble editing at the moment. Lots of tutorials out there to help you with editing. And I can't stress enough, guys, do not, and Yad, I'm not singling you out. It's a great segue into, do not be lazy about learning how to do stuff. If I get one more comment that asks me, what microphone should I buy? Even though I did write a section of that in the ebook, it was more because I knew I'd get questions on it. There is millions of pages of research that can help you Tom's Hardware, for example, is a great place to go when you're trying to buy something, or CNET, the reviews they do there, because they have professionals whose job it is to break these things down and test them and talk to you about them. And Tom's Hardware even goes as far, if you get deep into their communities, about telling you which horse works for which course. Okay, like horse races, you want to pick the right horse for the right course to win. It's the same thing. But get out there and learn, guys. Don't just depend on the gurus to give you everything. You got to have some tenacity and some strength to get out there and start learning. If you have a problem editing, watch every single tutorial about how to edit in whatever software you use. Let's say it's Premiere and After Effects. Watch every single video on YouTube. What else are you doing? Watching Dashi or one of these other guys? Take the time you were going to watch entertainment and dedicate that to learning. And by the way, I'm not saying that you're not doing that. Like I said, I'm not singling you out. Just taking your comment as an opportunity to talk about something that I've noticed is a problem with most of humanity, is we want to get the prize without the pain. Nobody gets the prize without the pain unless they're born into a billion-dollar family. And usually those people end up with a lot more pain, because human beings are not designed to just be born into never having a challenge. We're designed to challenge and be challenged and overcome challenges. It's how we build confidence. It's how we build strength. It's how we build tenacity. And it's ultimately when we feel the most alive in our lives. And if there's anybody else out there who's a soldier like I've been, you understand that very deeply. All right? Let's see. Jizza says, "Hi, Alloy. How are you? I'm glad I got to catch your stream. So am I. Sugarfoot, what's up, man? Came to the show some love, but I feel a little out of place." Don't feel out of place, man. You are welcome here. And see, you got people even in the stream trying to help you with your editing. Excellent. And you're in the right place. Again, I'm not trying to single you out, but my advice is learn everything you can from there's plenty of experts on YouTube. The guys I learned from. I didn't know the first thing I was a music editor. I didn't know anything about Premiere when I first started thinking about getting on YouTube. So I sat down and started watching experts do it. And I'm not a videographer, or is that the right word? I'm a scientist. So, I don't have it all down myself. I could probably stand to learn a little bit more. Oh, he says, "Oh, sorry, not directly. His content led me to you. You guys worked well together." Yeah. Excellent. Kamek JRZ says, "How long will it take to recoup the investment made buying equipment to start a gaming channel?" That depends. What type of gaming channel are you started? If revenue is important to you, what is the business model you're attempting to wrap around your YouTube channel? And by that, I mean, what streams of income are you going to set up? Are you going to rely solely on AdSense? That may be a long road depending on the type of content you're making. I recommend all the people that work with me do not rely on AdSense as your meal ticket. It's not, because it's going to get worse. I think YouTube Red will help, but AdSense, there's this weird, I don't know if I want to call it a dichotomy or a paradox, where the less effective advertising becomes, the more money companies pour into it, thus making it less effective because there's more of it. Okay, so the ability to earn money from ad revenue, it's only gonna get more strained until the world figures out a better model. All right, Ranger J says, "All right, guys, I'm headed out. Good night, brother. Have a good one." Aaron Games says, "In one of my videos, I expressed my opinion that I wanted Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, and Batman Arkham Knight." Sweet. All right, Jolly Mage, this is a good one, guys. Pay attention. Here we go. How many social media venues should I use to advertise my channel? I hear some talk about using Facebook, G+, Tumblr, Twitter, Reddit, etc. All of them per vid. Is this too much? Yes. It's too much when you're just starting out. So you will remember the conversations we've had about Genghis Khan and how he attacked one place, conquered it completely, and then went to the next thing. So right now, your focus is YouTube, period. Focus on mastering YouTube and then cross-pollinate as you start to get, and you've got a couple thousand subscribers. So I think you're at the point where you can start to pull some of your YouTube audience onto whatever the next social media platform you're going to go to is. Like I know you're on Twitter, but you have to just pick. Here's the deal. You pick one and you work it the best way you know how. Find out how the most popular people do it. Find out what you can emulate from them, reverse engineer it, and then do what they do to help grow your audience. And then, as you do that, you'll find that it either grows or it doesn't grow. And if you stick with it for a while, do some experimentation, and it just doesn't grow, then, or if it does grow to a point where you're happy with it, a couple thousand followers or whatever, then you can move on to the next. But don't join 17 different social media platforms and think that it's going to help you. It's not. All right, you need to be focused. Focus, 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 focus is what we've got to do, friends. One caveat to that, you mentioned Reddit. I would become a part of Reddit communities. But remember, this is the one thing I want to steer people away from. To advertise my channel. You're not going to these places just to advertise your channel. You're going there to become an active, valuable member of the community. Once you have established that, you will then be allowed to promote your work because the people there, like, for example, on Reddit, I am a member of the RPG Gamers subreddit. I'm highly active there with all kinds of things, not my content. I try to post my content as little as possible. There's a lot of my stuff that I do that I don't post there, even though I think it would be very valuable, because I don't want to bruise that relationship that I've created there. And some people I have bruised. There's people there that can't stand me. But there are more people there who actually do respect what I do and that they know that it's coming from a good place. So because I've fostered that relationship, I then have the ability to post content on Reddit. Okay? And Reddit's good because you're getting links to your work, not just, like places like Twitter, you're not necessarily going to get any authority from an SEO perspective past to what you're doing over there. But you're going to see the video, Jolly, because I know you're in the academy. I've got 3 videos from now. We're actually going to get deep into the weeds, or 2 videos from the one you've seen. We're going to get into the weeds about how that works, okay? And why it's important to be on Reddit. Okay, so yeah, focus. That's my advice. So yeah, basically you've got YouTube to where you've got a couple thousand subscribers. Now you can cross-pollinate. Just pick one though. All right, and they all have different values because they all do different things. Like I find I don't do so well on Twitter because I'm not a chit-chat guy. Like, hey, how's the weather? Hey, did you hear Kanye West farted? I'm not that dude. Like, even in social situations, it's funny. Like, I go places, people think I'm introverted, antisocial, because I don't engage. Because topic of conversation, I'd rather jump off a cliff. So I don't talk. And Twitter is a lot like that. Like, it's been harder for me to find that niche of people who want more. And because I've been so focused on gaming for so long, more of what I want to be focused on Twitter is not related to what I'm doing in space. So there's a couple different issues there why I've had trouble with Twitter. Facebook allows for some more long form content, but each platform has a different kind of spirit to it, if you will. So Yad said where to do a transition. And yeah, there's going to be tons of tutorials out there that can help you with that. That's excellent. Jizza says, I just started doing Let's Plays, and I try to talk about any information I know about the game, and also try to talk about what I'm doing at the moment and what I want to happen. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Dandy Serenity says, hey, what's up, Dandy? How you doing? JZA, Jizza says, also, okay, so he's just talking about what he's doing. Knox says, yeah, that's got to be something you find yourself, the editor. Okay, excellent. Captain Fructose says hello. What's up, Captain Fructose? How you doing? Welcome. All right. Good comments, guys. Helping each other out. That's what I like to see. Dark Feathers 22 says, B, some people may want to learn, but using software gets them frustrated. Elaborate on that. Is that a question, or I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Danny Serenity says, something I do is pretend I'm talking to my guildies. Nice. Okay, I think, and Captain Fructose says, how's it going? Excellent. How's it going for you? I think I am way behind on comments. So the Game Machine says, when using social media to spread the word about your content, what is a good example of how we should write our post and frequency we post that are social media? Okay, again, no black and white answers. I like to get away from just promoting my content on social media because, again, everyone lives in a bubble. They don't care about your content. So find out what people do care about, and if your content is related to it, then make a post about that and link them to your content. And one good way to do that on Twitter is look at what's trending. All right. Still going through the comments here. So Christopher Grop, sorry if I mispronounced it, says, can you grow a gaming channel with giveaways? I don't know anybody that's been successful just doing giveaways, because here's the thing. Giveaways are good to motivate a specific action. They're not necessarily good at creating long-term relationships like with subscribers, because if I said tonight I'm giving away a the newest iPad at the end of this talk, I'd get a lot of people show up that just want the iPad. So it wouldn't necessarily, there would be some growth there, but I think it can't be the primary thing is what I'm getting at. It will help. And based on the way psychology works, you doing a giveaway is going to convey a certain level of altruism that people are going to want to reciprocate. There's actually cognitive biases that have been studied that show that people want to give to someone who gives to them. But I wouldn't make that your whole plan for growing, is just doing giveaways. I'd make that kind of the icing on the cake. All right, what do we got? Comic says, thanks, man. That's all I was looking for. Clear-cut statement about AdSense giving me a quick ROI. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to happen. AdSense it's not going to, unless you somehow have got some lightning rod content that draws. Think about it. PewDiePie had to do, 2 billion views to get $7 million? That's why he wrote a book, man. I'd be willing to bet money that the money he made in the first week of sales in the book eclipsed what he made on YouTube that year. At least that was true for my book. Maybe not, because PewDiePie made a lot more money on YouTube than I did. Yeah, Captain Fructose, that's a good point. It's a good way to thank your people for being there. I agree with that. That's good. Uh-oh. Hickville Productions says, what is similar to iMovie? If you're on a Mac Final Cut X, honest. Okay, she's answering a question. Yeah, Anna is my expert film person. That's one of the reasons why she is an Alloy 7 member.